Join us on a journey into the silent abyss. In this story, you will discover how one man wakes from a 400-year sleep to find himself the sole inhabitant of a ghost ship the size of a city. The chilling secret behind a single, terrifying log entry that holds the key to humanity's disappearance. The horrifying truth about the ship's other passengers, ancient, dormant beings who hunt by sound, and the devastating moment he learns he wasn't the last survivor, but the last prisoner on a floating tomb. The first thing he saw was the rust. It coated every surface, a fine red dust that tasted of salt and 1,000 forgotten years. The second thing he heard was the silence. A heavy, oppressive quiet broken only by the creak of metal and the sigh of an endless ocean. He didn't know his name. He didn't know how he got here. All he knew was the number tattooed on his arm, 734, and the impossible, terrifying truth he discovered on the bridge. He was the only person on a colossal, city-sized ship. According to the ship's log, it had been sailing on autopilot for 412 years. It wasn't a ship, it was a ghost, a tomb adrift in the final days of humanity. They called her the Leviathan, a self-sustaining ark built to outlive a world. Powered by a fusion core with automated hydroponic farms, she was a final bastion when the land became uninhabitable. But something went catastrophically wrong. The ship's last log entry, dated October 17, 2044, was a single chilling phrase. The chorus has begun. Seal the decks. Silence is survival. After that, 412 years of automated course corrections. No crew, no passengers, nothing. Subject 734 was a relic, a man out of time, his memory a complete blank. He awoke from a cryo-pod, the only one still functional among thousands of dark, silent tombs lining the cavernous chamber walls. He was a single living soul on a vessel the size of Manhattan. For weeks he explored the monument to a dead civilization, walking through opulent, dust-covered ballrooms. He found the automated hydroponic farm still active, a vibrant green jungle, a bizarre paradise in the heart of the decay. The ship's AI, a calm voice named Mother, responded to his queries, but her databanks on the final event were sealed. All records pertaining to the chorus are classified under Quarantine Mandate 1, she would state, her voice devoid of emotion. 734's life became a routine. Harvest food, explore, and search the archives for answers. He found training manuals for a security detail, the uniform fitting him perfectly. He had been a soldier, a protector. The question haunted him. What was he supposed to be protecting the ship from? The answer came from a place he wasn't supposed to find. Behind a bulkhead welded shut from the inside, he found the frantic handwritten journals of the last security chief, Ilara. Her words painted a terrifying picture. The chorus wasn't a disease or a mutiny. It was a sound, a low-frequency signal broadcast across the globe from an unknown source deep within the ocean. The signal was a hypnotic weapon that preyed on the human mind, rewriting it. It turned people into listeners, their individuality erased, moving with a strange, unified purpose. Their only goal was to amplify the signal, to spread the chorus. The final entries were a desperate scramble. The signal had breached the ship's hull. The crew was turning. It gets in through the eyes, Ilara wrote. Don't look at them. Their breathing isn't breathing. It's a rhythm. Silence is survival. The security chief had sealed the last uninfected in the cryo bay, setting the pods to indefinite stasis. She initiated the silent running protocol, shutting down all external communications to make the ship appear dead. Her last entry was scrawled and barely legible. I can hear them scratching at the door. The chorus is so beautiful. I have to let it in. 734 felt a cold dread creep up his spine. He wasn't the last survivor. He was the last prisoner. He was locked on a ship with a population of listeners who had been roaming the dark decks for 4 centuries. The silent running protocol kept them dormant. They were drawn to sound and light. His awakening, the rebooting of the cryobay's power, had been a dinner bell. He began to see signs he'd previously missed. Strange geometric patterns scratched into the dusty walls. Barricades of furniture in long-abandoned corridors. The eerie silence he had treasured was not peace, it was a predator's stillness. His mission became singular: get to the primary comms tower and send a warning. But the tower was on the opposite side of the ship, across the main decks where the listeners likely hibernated. He armed himself, his old training coming back in flashes of muscle memory. He moved through the ship like a ghost, every footstep a gamble. His first encounter was in the Grand Library. He saw them standing among the dusty bookshelves, perfectly still like desiccated statues. Their eyes glowed with a faint, pale blue light. He backed away, holding his breath, but knocked over a metal bookend. The clang echoed through the hall like a gunshot. In perfect, terrifying unison, every head snapped towards him. They didn't run. They moved with a slow, synchronized grace, their breathing a low, rhythmic hum, the chorus. He fled, their coordinated footsteps echoing behind him, a sound that drilled into his mind. He learned to use the ship's systems as a weapon, creating sound diversions to move through other sectors. He became a whisper in the machine, hunted by the ghosts that inhabited it. He found a personal data slate in a sealed officer's quarters. It belonged to Security Officer 734. His name was Elias Thorne. He had a wife and daughter on the ship. A memory broke through the fog. His daughter's laughter. The feeling of her hand in his. He wasn't just fighting for survival. He was fighting for a memory. The comms tower was at the highest point of the ship, accessible only by an external elevator on the main deck. He would have to go outside under the open sky for the first time. The moment he opened the hatch, the salt and wind hit him, a shocking sensory overload. The sky was a strange, sickly shade of ochre, and the deck was not empty. Hundreds of listeners stood facing the horizon, their bodies swaying in a gentle, synchronized rhythm. They were worshipping the source of the signal. They turned, their blue eyes locking onto him. He was cornered. He remembered Ilara's journal. The signal is a frequency. It can be countered. He sprinted for the console at the base of the tower, the horde closing in. Instead of a distress call, he accessed the ship's emergency broadcast system. "Mother," he yelled, "broadcast your source code, on all frequencies, maximum amplitude." "That action is not recommended," the AI replied calmly. "Do it," he roared. An ear-splitting wave of pure data, a chaotic symphony of ones and zeros, erupted from every speaker. The listeners convulsed, the chaotic noise anathema to their perfect chorus. Their blue eyes flickered and died. He stood on the deck of the world's last ship, a man with no memory, his victory tasting of ash and solitude, but he was alive. The story of Subject 734 is a question. What is the cost of survival, and what does it mean to be human when humanity is gone? If this journey into the silent abyss captivated you, show your support by hitting that like button. Subscribe and ring the notification bell to join us on our next descent into the unknown. In a world-ending event, would you rather face the apocalypse alone or with a horde of monsters? Let us know your survival strategy in the comments below.